So I just got to see Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast, and I have many things to say about it, and minus the movie's flaws, and I was able to pull out a few of them. Please go see this film, because I really did enjoy it on just a nostalgic level, and also I am a very big supporter of the Disney live-action fairy tale remakes. I really like Maleficent, shocker. I really like Cinderella. I really like The Jungle Book, and I really did enjoy this film, but there are just a few things that bug me that I had to offer my opinion of for you guys, and just let you know, this video will have a couple minor spoilers to the twist that the film has. But all the live-action remakes have twists, but I also felt that the other live-action remakes almost had their own plot. Like, clearly Maleficent was a retelling of Sleeping Beauty from the perspective of Maleficent, obviously. But this movie has an interesting twist. It makes it a little bit more adult, and I need to discuss them in order to make the review more comprehensive and in-depth. But it's really a very strong cut and paste of the 1991 film. And that helps it and also ruins it. I think if you've never seen the 1991 film, you're going to be like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. But if you've seen the 1991 film, which I have seen it many times, probably 91 times, that allowed me to pull out several flaws. So I'm going to talk about the flaws, and then I'm going to talk about what I liked. And I did like a lot. And if I seem like I'm being overly harsh, it's because I'm just a fan of these, and I want Disney to continue with them, and I want this film to make a lot of money. So the first one, and I've already said it, is it's so close to a cut and paste of the original that it's really distracting. Now, there are several scenes where they kind of manipulate it so it doesn't feel like a direct cut and paste, or technically it's not, but at the same time, it is. Like, they move the placement of Belle, like, after Gaston tries to propose, and which technically happens in the original film, but like the proposal, to Belle, and then the reprise of the song Belle happens right after Maurice leaves. It doesn't, it's not like, Belle goes away and then Maurice gets lost, or Maurice goes away and then he gets lost. It's Maurice goes away, Gaston proposes, Belle then sings, then we see Maurice, and then Philippe comes back after. So it's like weirdly cut, which is good and bad, I guess. I'm not really sure how I really feel about that in all fairness, but it's so close to a cut and paste that they're like, oh, let's just move a couple of these scenes around, and then no one will really notice. Well, I noticed, and I think a lot of people will notice. So the cut and paste is the distracting part. Then there's two more flaws that I have with it. First off, the movie, because it is such a cut and paste, has to quote. It has to quote the original 1991 film. And Emma Watson, Dan Stevens, Luke Evans, whenever they quote lines from the original movie, they don't say it with the inflections or the vulnerability or the emotions that Paige O'Hara, Robbie Benson, etc. all have when they say their lines, which caught me off guard. There are so many scenes in the film where, many lines from the 1991 film are quoted, and because they're just said so rapid fire, they lose their impact, and they make the movie not bad in any sense of the word, but it makes it just a little bit less enjoyable, because I get taken out of it and go, well, Paige O'Hara said it like so much kinder, or in such a kinder, more generous way, or Robbie Benson says it in such a dramatic way that I just go, oh, like why is it said so fast? For example, the scene when Belle goes into the west wing of the castle, it's like this. It's so fast, but in the 1991 movie, it happens very slowly. There's a great scene in the 1991 film where Belle looks at her reflection in a broken mirror, and then, she goes in, she sees all the dead bodies of the animals, of the animal carcasses, and then, she sees the rose and it glows. In this film, the rose does not glow, and it's weird, because when Belle just looks at it, she just touches the glass in this film. She doesn't lift it off and try to touch the flower itself. And the Beast, granted, in both films he comes out of nowhere, but the way Belle or Emma Watson approached this this scene is so fast. When in the 1981 film, you're like, whoa, like what is Belle gonna do? It really took me away. It really took me out of the film. So that's my second problem with the film. My third and last problem with the film, and this might be blasphemous, so please do not hate me. I really, really think the movie did not need the music at all. I think, bring Alan Menken on and as to help with the melodies and whatnot, but we didn't need a musical. we definitely did not need a musical. I think the beauty of the live action fairy tale film is to not have the musical. Like I loved how Cinderella was a musical. I loved how how the Jungle Book incorporated songs, but it didn't break out into full on musical number. And I'm also not a musical fan. I'm really not. I like animated musicals. I like the 1991 Beauty and the Beast. I loved Frozen, but I get very bored when I'm watching musicals. In all honesty, granted, I did like the Mamma Mia movie with Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried. So I don't think the music took away from this film at all. Like that's not what I'm saying. But I think the movie would have had a greater impact and been even more interesting if it excluded the songs. But at the same time, if Disney decided to completely exclude the numbers, I think it would have been really lauded by critics, which wouldn't have been good. So those are my three big issues with the film. But I really do love it. It's like a really weird love-hate relationship because I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing it again. I'm going to buy it on Blu-ray. I'm going to get the 3D Blu-ray of it, though I don't think you need to see it in 3D. I don't think it's worth the extra money. But okay, let's talk about the twist, the extra twist that the movie has. So when the rose petals fall, the objects in the castle feel the effects of the rose, which is really interesting. I really never thought they would do that. And also the castle itself feels the effects of the rose. And I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. Like that's such a cool idea. I really, really like that. So it just makes the gravity of the situation that the people in the Beast's castle are under a time crunch and they will turn to objects very soon. So I like that. The next part is the Enchantress is very much involved in the story. Now, in the 1991 version, she just is shown through stained glass, and by the way, that is completely excluded from this film, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, depending on what you like. I personally think not having the stained glass was a good idea, but she's very much involved in the progression of the story. And this is a very big spoiler for the end, and it makes it good and bad. The way the movie ends is Belle, when she says, "I love you" in the 1991 film, she says it before the Beast dies. So thus the spell will be broken. Here, she says it after the rose petal falls. And all the objects turn to real objects. Like they lose their humanity. And it's awful. Like it's awful to watch because you feel so bad for them. They literally are becoming what they are, and I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. So like for adults, like it's beautiful, like it's like a beautiful, beautiful sad scene. So that's like just a difference. But then the Enchantress comes in and resurrects the Beast from the dead. It's not Belle's love, it's her magic. So it's crazy. It's really crazy the way they twist it around. Now for acting, I think Luke Evans, Dan Stevens, and Emma Watson are fantastic. I think Emma Watson is Belle. She went from being Hermione, Hermione in the castle of Hogwarts to being Belle in the castle of the Beast. She's fantastic. I think Luke Evans is great as Gaston, but he made the character so venomous that Gaston isn't as fun and engaging as he once was in the 91 film. Dan Stevens is really good, but him and Emma Watson, particularly when they're quoting lines from the original film, they don't say them properly. Like, I don't have the empathy that I do for when Robbie Benson said them, for example. But I really felt that Emma was Belle and that Dan was the Beast, and I really did feel the connection. And I thought the movie, it works really well for what it is. It's very good, but I think if they didn't have the music be as integral to the plot as it is, it would have made the film just a little more enjoyable for me as a Disney fan. And maybe it's my nostalgia that's ruined it. And I'm using quotes for that word, ruined it, because I liked the movie. I really did like it because, I thought Emma she brought such a renaissance to Belle's personality, and I loved it. Belle, she was essentially made as a way to be different than Ariel, because Ariel is kind of like the boy crazy Disney princess, but at the same time she's also the adventurous one and who goes out on her own. Well, here you see Belle go out on her own without anyone's help. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel had Ursula to help get her to Eric. Here, Belle's like, I'm just doing this. And then Emma Watson just took the I'm just doing it and made it even more meta. Like, she did not want to stay in the castle, like how Belle in the original film was kind of complacent. And I like that. I like that approach. And also, by the way, I just wanted to mention this. There was the whole thing with LeFou and the LGBT community. I was like appalled at the way it was done because it was like subtle, but it was not subtle. And I don't think they need to change LeFou to a gay character at all. I thought that was kind of stupid. In all fairness, and Luke Evans is gay, and Luke Evans plays Gaston, who's like this macho straight guy, and I was like, why? Why change? There's no reason to change it. Just keep it how it was. It will still be good. But that was just that. My opinion on that. Visually, it's stunning. The visual effects are so fantastic. You really feel that you're really in the Beast's castle. Emma and the Beast in their outfits look great. Luke Evans really stays in his Gaston attire the whole time, which is pretty much what happens in the live action film. And it works. Like, it really, really works. It's very, very stunning visually. The costumes are great. Though I will say Cinderella had the better costumes than Beauty and the Beast, because there are some scenes where I think it's completely on purpose, but for example, there's one moment where Emma, or not one moment, many moments where her dress is like up here, and I'm like, wait, why won't she lower it? And you see her, I don't even know what to call it because I don't really think about dresses, but like a stocking or something. It's definitely not a stocking, but you see it, and I'm like, why don't we lower that? Like, it's weird. The additional backstory they added to Belle with her mother having the plague, I really, really liked as well. I thought that was really cool. It just adds, again, more gravitas to why Emma, or why Belle and Maurice moved to the situation, to the village that they're in. And also Maurice is fantastic in this film. He's not crazy old Maurice anymore, though I loved him as like the comic relief type character that he was, but you really see a very strong connection between Belle and Maurice here. Though I still say for animated or live action relationships, the best truly is Ariel and her father, King Triton. I really love their relationship. So, okay. To wrap this up, because I've talked about this film for over 12 minutes, the acting is phenomenal. The visuals are great. And when I say and I know I said there are lines that they rushed, but just the face acting is so good. The moments where, you're supposed to feel, you feel. But then there's also some moments where you're like, wait, well, slow down, slow your roll. So I love Emma Watson. I really think she's the new Belle. When she comes down, the Belle from the stairs to meet the Beast, you really see that her being Belle. Oh, just another quick little spoiler nod. In the trailers, we see her in like her undergarments essentially during the final battle. That's because when she leaves the Beast Castle, she doesn't change like she does in the 1991 film into her blue dress. She stays in her yellow dress, takes it off, and then is in her white undergarment the rest of the film. I did enjoy some of the covers that were in the film, though I think Be Our Guest wasn't as grand as it should have been. But I thought Beauty and the Beast was probably the best song, and Belle Reprise was also very good. The Beast had his own solo and a little bit of a backstory. You find out that the Beast was raised by a very cruel father. And, this is a cool twist. I'm talking about this film for so long because there's just so much stuff that keeps coming to me, and my notes are not inclusive enough. This is a really cool twist. The Enchantress made everyone in the village forget about the Beast and his servants, because Mrs. Potts had a husband who, by the way, is called Mr. Potts. He has no name, who forgets about her in the village. So I like that as well. So the twists were cool. The acting is really great. The visuals are stunning. The costumes are great. The musical numbers are hit or miss depending on how you feel about musical numbers. And I think score, one of the best scores that I've heard in a long time. So if I had to rate the film, I would say it's a BB+. It's definitely not an A to me. I know on Rotten Tomatoes it got a 66%, which is not deserving. It doesn't even deserve a C rating. It needs a B, but it's not an A. It's just not an A to me. But I would say you need to go see it. Feel free to see it at any price. I mean, maybe a matinee if you want to see it in 3D. But if not, I'm really curious what you guys have to say. But thank you for tuning in for my longer spoiler-ish review on Beauty and the Beast. I thought the film was fun. It's a B movie for me. Also, my friend who I saw it with had never seen the 1991 film. And we walked out of the theater and I said, what'd you think? And he goes, eh. And I go, why? And he goes, well, I'm not a big fan of musicals. But then he goes, it's so fast. And I'm like, it's the music that did it. And he goes, yeah. So just be warned. If you've never have seen it, the music does make the story go very fast. So anyway, please see it. Thank you for listening to my review. It's like glass half full, glass half empty, because I have a love-hate relationship with this film. So I'll be buying it on Blu-ray for sure. I think it definitely needs to be bought. I think Emma Watson has a gigantic career with the Disney company. We do not need a Beauty and the Beast 2, though. Just keep it at 1. I'm very curious to see the live-action Mulan, but I want the live-action Mulan to be no music at all. Just be a action film. So anyway, share your thoughts about the film in the comments below. Thank you for watching my review, and we'll talk real soon. Okay, guys.